Do you have a morning routine that sets you up for success? Well, that's the subject of today's Out of the Box. Welcome back to Out of the Box, the series where unconventional thinking leads to extraordinary living. I'm your host, Elizabeth Miner, CEO and founder of Thrive This Day, and I'm also a life coach. And today we're going to talk about something that is such a big topic of interest for coaching, and that is morning routines. Everywhere I go, every podcast I'm on, I'm asked about what my morning routine is. And when I work with clients, I often help them set up some routines. Now, there are all sorts of rules about morning routines. And what you know about me is I am not a big fan of rules. So here's the thing. We all hear that in order to have a successful morning routine, we have to wake up super early. We have to do some particular rhythm or routine, and it must take approximately an hour. Usually they're right around an hour. Now, as far as I'm concerned, those are all BS. Because here's the thing. If you're not a morning person and you do a morning routine and you are exhausted and you are dragging and that's not your best time, then that's not going to make you a success. What makes you a success is setting some intentions. So here's the first thing that I want to just bust wide open is your morning routine doesn't have to be in the morning. It can be in the evening before you go to bed. If you find it's way better for you to set something up at nighttime before you go to bed for the day ahead, that's great. Do it then. Do it then, and it might help you even sleep better because you're not worried about, oh, when I wake up in the morning, I need to think about this. You get to just say, these are the things I'm going to work on tomorrow. And some people believe that setting that for the next day will let your brain kind of marinate on it overnight while you're sleeping. So that's always a possibility. But the better thing is if that's where you're most alert, most focused, and best able to set up what you want to accomplish in the next day, then use that time to do that when it works best for you. And don't try and wake up at 5 a.m. and halfway in a groggy mess decide on what you want to do for the day. If it doesn't work for you, or if, like it used to be for me, I had a 5 a.m. wake up for many, many years, but frankly, that was not for my power hour. That was because I had a baby calling me and needing my attention. And I wasn't able to set aside the time for me at 5 a.m. because I had kids to take care of. I had 2 children as a single mother. There was no snoozing for that. There was no, oh, hang on, let me do some affirmations first. So that's the first thing. The first thing is do this when it makes the most sense for you, for your rhythm, for your lifestyle, for the season that you're in. Second thing is the same routine doesn't work for everyone. Let's get real. The same weight loss program doesn't work for everyone. The same business model does not work for everyone. Not one thing works for everyone. So figure out what works for you. At one point in my life, when I was a single mom, I was working 3 jobs, raising 2 children, and I didn't have a lot of time. And frankly, I've always had trouble with affirmations. There's something about them that just doesn't sit right with me. So I had something called a mantra board, and it was just something very similar to a vision board, but it had little phrases. It had key sayings. It had little visions of the things that I was working towards, little quotes that might be uplifting for me. And I kept it near where I made my coffee every morning, because as a single mom working multiple jobs, raising kids, let me tell you, coffee was something that was always on target. So as I'm getting my coffee ready in the morning, I could just glance over at that. I didn't have an hour to do this. I had a glance. And throughout the day, I might have picked up a note from my board that I just needed later on in the day, that little pick-me-up when I needed it most, that little touchstone that I needed to help me stay focused and on my game and towards the things that I was working hardest to achieve during the day. I had that little piece that I took with me. That was what I could do at that time in my life. I knew I needed to do something, but I just didn't have the time or the bandwidth to do the routine that I kept reading about that I needed to do. So that's number 2. You don't have to do the same thing that every guru or coach tells you is part of a morning routine. You have to do what fits for your season, for your life, and for who you are in whatever stage you are in. Now, the last thing is you need to figure out what's the best rhythm for you all around. What are the things that make sense for you to work towards at this time? So you might beef up your morning routine maybe on a weekend and go lighter on your morning routine on the weekdays, or you might change it up altogether. These days I do a morning routine Monday through Friday, sometimes Saturday, that involves movement, meditation, and planning out my day. But on Sundays, I change that up. I take a rest day off of my workout most times, and I will spend that time journaling. I spend a lot of time in reflection on Sundays, and a lot of time on Sunday I spend preparing for the week ahead. So for me, my morning routine differs based on the day of the week or the planning stage I'm in. It also changes based on the time of the month, if it's the beginning of the month or the end of the month, if it is the beginning of a quarter or a reflection towards the end of the year. Any of these things change up based on where I'm at. So here's the number one hard and fast rule about morning routines. There's no hard and fast rule about routines. Do what works for you. But my biggest thing is figure out what works for you and put yourself first. And you've heard me say it many, many times here before. Put down the phone. Do not have that as your first thing that you dive into. It is so detrimental to any productivity, any focus, any goals that you have for your life, because it brings you down into other people's needs, or it gets you distracted with social media, what other people are doing. And that is not living intentionally, and that is not setting you up for your extraordinary living. So those are my 2 hard and fast rules. 1, there is no hard and fast rule. 2, don't let the phone be your first thing. Let you be your first focus, and let your needs be your first focus as much as you can when you get up in the day. So that's what I have for you today on morning routines. And I hope you find this helpful, and I'd love it if you're willing to share your morning routine or midday routine or evening routine, whenever that is for you. I'd love it if you'd share it in the comments below. And as always, if you think this episode might be helpful for somebody else in your circle, please do forward it. And of course, I hope you're subscribed so you get a notification every time a new episode drops. Well, until next time, ciao.